first thing we want to do tonight is what we got to do last Wednesday night, show this short video of the temple. It's it only lasts about 6 or 7 minutes, but I found it helpful. It also, I think it's in the King James, so you might miss a little bit of it, but there's also in red, as the scenes change from one section to another, the verse references are shown there. So if you've got anything you want me to stop and you want to discuss it, just let me know and we can find out where we are. So having said that, let's hope that this works. Now I'm gonna have to use the speaker in here, and I've got it turned up all of the way. So hopefully, huh? No, no. Yeah. some idea of how, and I was struck by this, how prominent what feature was. The gates, they were extremely tall and extremely well guarded, with 6 guard chambers on them, 6 gates. I'm sorry? Oh. I've got an ad here somehow. Yeah, does anybody else ever get any ads on their computer?
On this Alexis Sherry. Commenting on the class.
Okay, well, I hope that gives you some idea of the looks of the temple. Almost very few of the vertical measurements are given. So somebody has to guess, speculate as to how tall they ought to be. Okay. That covered the first chapters 40, 41, and 42, and we started last week on chapter 43 after the vision of all that beautiful temple. We'll just read through it because I think we covered it last week. He led me to the gate, the one that faces east, and I saw the glory of God coming from the east. His voice sounded like the roar of a huge torrent, and the earth shone with his glory. The vision I saw was like the one I saw when he came to destroy the city, and like the ones I saw by the Chebar Canal, or the river of Chebar. And when I saw it, I fell face down. The glory of the Lord entered the temple by the way of the gate that faced east. Then the Spirit lifted me up and brought me to the inner court, and the glory of the Lord filled the temple. Now remember, when it's talking about the inner court, it's talking about the small court that surrounds the holy place and the most holy place. When it's talking about the outer court, it's between the walls of that inner court and the outside walls, called the outer court, where that pavement was located, and all of those dining rooms and so on and so forth. Any questions upon these verses? Okay. I think there is something that we may not have covered. In verse, let's go to verse 6. While the man was standing beside me, I heard someone speaking to me from the temple, that is, from inside the holy place. He said to me, Son of man, this is the place of my throne and the place for the soles of my feet, where I will dwell among the Israelites forever. The house of Israel and their kings will no longer defile my holy name by their religious prostitution and by the corpses of their kings at their high places. Whenever they place their threshold next to my threshold and their doorposts besides my doorposts, with only a wall between them, me and them, they were defiling my holy name by the detestable acts they committed, so I destroyed them in my anger. Now let them remove their prostitution and the corpses of their kings far from me, and I will dwell among them forever. Now I am somewhat puzzled by verses 8 and verses 9 as to exactly what is the meaning of the corpses of their kings, and I think that we at least touched this last week. If it's literal, it must mean that some corpses of some kings were buried close to the temple. But what got me was, let's see. It's the last part of verse 7. The house of Israel and their kings will no longer defile my holy name by their religious prostitution and by the corpses of their kings at their high places. So, it appears that the location was where, in the past, shrines is a good word for high places, or an altar to false god, where one of these had been built, and that's the location, if I understand it, where the corpses of their kings were located. It may be the corpses of their kings refers to the dead idols which were at these high places. I'm not really sure. It's a kind of a vague way for me, some 2,500 years removed from it, to really grasp it completely. And the part in verse 9 where he says they built their threshold so close to mine tells me that it may refer to the shrines and idolatrous practices that were going on that we looked at, I believe it's in chapter 8, when Ezekiel was brought through and saw the women weeping for Tammuz. And some of this happened at the north gate. You remember we had the little stick figures? And he says, have you seen, Ezekiel, what they are doing in my holy place, in my home? That very well may be what is being referred to here. But what he is really, I think, upset about is the attempt that was made from time to time by the Israelite priests to worship Yahweh with one hand and to worship the idols with the other. Yeah.
The lifeless idols.
Lifeless idols, okay, that's very possible, correct. That very well could be correct. But I'm not smart enough to know exactly what is the correct answer. But I noticed he says that I will dwell with them, excuse me, forever. Where is that? Verse 9 tells me. Needless to say, that didn't happen either. And there are other instances where God has promised to reign on his holy hill that he had picked out for Jerusalem as his exclusive residence. And he uses the term forever. Now, we all know that that didn't happen. So something happened in between the time the Lord said that and the time it was to be carried out that changed that forever. And it has to be. The only thing that comes to my mind, again, is the conduct of the people. Made it impossible. In verse 8, well, let's see, thresholds, we talked about that. Okay, so it looks like their attempt to mix the worship of Yahweh with the worship of idols. And I guess they expected by doing that they would have the best of both worlds. Okay, we'll please the idols, the local gods, and we'll please Yahweh. And I don't see why he would be upset about it. But what was one of the 10 Commandments? You shall have no other gods before me, meaning in place of me or ahead of me or any other gods at all. Mike.
Verse 9 is provisional. It says, now let them remove that prostitution in the course of the king.
That's where I was going.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No. I'd rather have
I got a headache.
I'd rather have somebody in the class notice that, because the condition is stated very clearly in verse 9 that they remove the prostitution in these corpses of their kings, whatever they were, far from me, and then it's implied, I will dwell among them forever. I cannot see Yahweh, God, living amongst a people who are rebellious, faithless, godless, and pagan. And what drove him out of the house he promised to live in forever in the first place? That very same thing. I think it was back in chapter 9, 10, 11 that he first went to the threshold and then went to the outside the gate and then moved across to the Mount of Olives and abandoned the temple. And it wasn't soon after that that the temple and the city and his people were destroyed. Okay, questions? Yeah, we talked about this last week, that there was never an Ark of the Covenant mentioned in regard to the temple. And it's not the only thing that's not mentioned that was characteristic of the tabernacle and the temple. Yeah, here's the pretty good condition that you brought up, Brother Walker. Why do you, no, those are the two verses that I just mentioned where he had promised back years ago that, well, the Lord will dwell there forever, and it didn't happen. And here's another one. This is my resting place, and he's speaking of the temple. Here I will dwell, my resting place forever. Here I will dwell, that's what I want. Let me paraphrase, that's what he wanted. He wanted to live there forever among his people. But they made that impossible. We don't need to go into that. Let's see, let's go to verse 10. As for you, son of man, now that you've seen it, describe the temple to the house of Israel, so that they may be ashamed of their iniquities or sins. Let them measure its pattern, and when they do, they will be ashamed of all that they have done. Reveal the design of the temple to them, its layout with its exits and entrances, its complete design along with all of its statutes, design specifications, and laws. Write it down in their sight so that they may observe its complete design and all its statutes and may carry them out. This is the law of the temple. All its surrounding territory on top of the mountain will be especially holy. Not just within, apparently not within simply the outer court. It extends further outside of that. Will be especially holy. This is the law of the temple. Now, speaking of how in the world can we get a set of plans that we have looked at with all of the measurements and all of the layouts and all of the specifications make someone ashamed? And that's a question that I asked myself. But then it says that the temple is not necessarily a building plan or a prediction of the future, but a powerful symbol that addresses the people in Ezekiel's day. Now, with that, I do not necessarily agree. However, the next sentence says they must consider in particular its plan, its structure, its entrances and exits, with all of its laws. In other words, the temple is a teaching tool that speaks by its shape and size, and particularly by its requirements for entrance into it. That's why, even in that video we saw, the gates were given such prominence, because he specifically mentions entrances and exits. And the word that is emphasized throughout this temple description is holiness. He said in the previous temple, you actually did a poor job of appreciating and living by the regulations of the laws of holiness. This one is going to make sure, you want to make sure that it impresses you with the difference between the laws and the entrances and the exits and how it was treated and what is expected of you with its entrances and its exits. His description of this temple is designed, the temple is designed to make sure that it remains holy. And this holiness also extends to what else? Its people. Its people. And their deviation from the rules of Moses' law with the temple, with Solomon's temple, was connected to the sins of the people. It was like people, like priests. They worked together to corrupt God's laws. And of course, the priests abused the entrances and the exits of the temple and failed to regard properly its holiness and allowed it to be, what's the word, defamed? I'm sorry? Defiled. Thank you very much, Dave. Yeah. So if they had a clear vision of God's ideal plan, it would remind of the people of the sins that led to the destruction of the first building. Now, I want you to follow its laws, its plans, its rules, its statutes, its regulations, its entrances and its exits. That is, who was allowed to come in, who has access to it. And if we do, I will live there forever. But you need to carefully look at that and regard the holiness that is built into this design. Yes, sir? Oh, you said something. Okay. So he says in verse 10, let them measure its pattern so that they can understand its religious or moral and spiritual significance and then apply it to themselves. Let them measure its pattern. Let's see, verse 11. This is God's call for Israel to return to the relationship that he wants to have with his people that they had at one time many years ago. And he has come back to his new temple in the middle of a renewed land. He has sent forth his Spirit to his people to encourage them, to help them be better people than they were the first time. You remember he said, I will put my Spirit in my people. And the question, I guess, that he is asking now, what more can I do that I haven't done?
Short of making them puppets.
Short of making them puppets, yes. You would think that reading that section where it says, I will put my Spirit in them that they may carry out my ordinances, means that God is going to arrange it so his people are puppets or robots and can't do anything but the right thing.
It's like the Spirit that dwells in us.
Yes. Yes.
Guides us if we let it.
If we let it. And the Spirit in the New Testament can be grieved. And that's what they did. That is what they did. So he calls Israel to return to him. And here's the temple that I'm going to be living at, and I expect you to observe all of its rules and regulations. And if you do, you will fulfill the purpose of the temple, and you will be in covenant relationship with me, God says. Actually, God's coming back as a sign that he has done what toward Israel? He has forgiven them. He has forgiven them.
I find it interesting that when David sends Nathan the prophet of God about him building the temple, he said, when have I ever asked for a man to build me a temple?
Yes.
For me to stay with you, that I have moved all through the 40 years, and I have been in the tent, and I've never asked anybody to do that. But since you have put it in your heart, then I will allow it. And he gave the plans. This time, God is urging them to be holy and to do this.
Yes. Yeah. You remember, God, from the time the tabernacle was built until David conquered the city of David or Mount Zion, God lived in a tent. And David started feeling guilty because he had just built a paneled house. And he began to feel guilty. Maybe he thought Yahweh was getting cold, or that he was, the rain at night was keeping him up. I don't know, but it didn't matter as far as God was concerned. He never asked for anything other than that porpoise skin tent. That was what was on the roof. And David's idea to build a temple didn't help things. Didn't help things at all. Okay, all the regulations in verse 12, that is, all the regulations have this one purpose, to ensure that the impurity remains outside, excuse me, and holiness remains inside. These are the measurements of the altar. This is the altar of burnt offering. We only have to look at 5 verses. In units of length, each unit being the standard length plus 3 inches, that is 18 plus 3, which is 21 inches, which is 1 cubit. The gutter, which goes around each tier, is 21 inches deep and 21 inches wide, with a, well, what's that next word? Rim. Okay, I smeared some ink on it. With a rim of 9 inches around its edge. This is the base of the altar, the distance from the gutter, and so on and so on. The altar height in verse 15 is 7 feet, and 4 horns project upward from the hearth, as it did in the old law. And it's 21, the hearth is the top layer, is 21 feet long by 21, wow, I'd forgotten that. 21 by 21. The rim all, okay. And the altar steps faced east. I think I've got a, yeah, there it is. Okay. 1, 2, 3, each one getting smaller as we go up. The steps face the same way as the eastern gates, both of them. This sits out right outside of the inner court. It doesn't tell us what it's made of, but if it's going to be the sacrificial burnt offering, it has to have some, we talked about this Wednesday night, it has to have some bronze on it. Now, okay, we don't need to bring this up, it's 1 minute till. Any questions? Now, I want all of you to think about what it means to restore these sacrificial offerings. Now, what it would mean that we still have animal sacrifices. Tell me how that relates to what is said in the New Testament about Jesus' sacrifice, and you'll get one of the reasons why most of us don't accept the position that this is going to be at the end of time, and that it actually is going to be built. But think about that. If God really intends to restore the Old Testament sacrifice, what that would mean. All right. Any questions? Let us pray. Father in heaven, again tonight, we all pray for understanding and insight into your word. And we want to understand how you have dealt with your people in the past, which will give us help understanding how you deal with your people today. Bless us and keep us, and we thank you for the rain this afternoon. In Jesus' name, amen.